Thank you for joining me this morning. My name's Tom Marshall. I am the Business Development Manager for the new Business Cyber Centre that Swindon and Wiltshire LEP are launching imminently. And I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about what the Business Cyber Centre entails, what's the plan for the project, how did we get to this point, and what is coming next, essentially. So without further ado, we will make a start. As I say, the plan for today's presentation is to go through a bit of a timeline for you on how the Swindon and Wiltshire LEP has got to the point of starting a Business Cyber Centre. What was the remit of the project, and what is the plan for the opportunity that the Business Cyber Centre offers? What is the building? Where is it going to be? What's going to contain? How are we going to operate? And then an opportunity to ask any questions at the end. Forgive me, I can't see the hop-in screen whilst I'm presenting, so I may flick to and from whilst I'm presenting, but if there are any questions, there's plenty of time, hopefully at the end of the presentation, and Daniel, who's very kindly moderating for me today, will jump in if there's anything glaring. So here's a quick content slide as to what the presentation is going to entail. So the background. What's the reason for this? Why are we looking to start a new business, which this essentially is for the Swindon and Wiltshire LEP? So going back a few years, as part of the local industrial strategy for the Swindon and Wiltshire Local Enterprise Partnership, cybersecurity was recognised as one of the growth areas in the region. And was there an opportunity for the LEP to engage with cybersecurity businesses, engage with the wider region, through what is now known as the Western Gateway, at the time was known as the Cyber Valley, to develop and collaborate with regions locally. Obviously, we've got Bristol and Bath, we've got Cheltenham and Gloucestershire, and across the way to the South Wales side. There are a number of key groups, key organisations who operate in those areas in the cybersecurity area. So we recognise there was an opportunity there, as well as a growing business base in our Swindon and Wiltshire region, looking to service places like the MOD Caution, as well as the Royal Signals and MOD Tidworth further to our south. So developing that concept, if you look at Companies House, there are in the region of 5.8 million small to medium enterprises that are registered. That's about 96% of all businesses on Companies House are classified as SMEs. Of that, around 563,000 are registered in the southwest alone. That's an enormous amount of business, and that ranges from very small, so micro entities, all the way through to large companies turning over multiple millions a year. So it is a real breadth of business. That nomenclature of an SME spans a wide area, but all of those have their own risks. They have their own identity, IP, that are at risk to cybersecurity threats. So recognising that there is a large amount of business, we also recognise that the cybersecurity world and the cybersecurity threats is difficult to navigate. The language that businesses use, the services that are available to organisations, certainly at the smaller end of that SME scale, are out of reach, both financially and again to be able to understand and access those is very, very complicated and can be difficult. So there are organisations and bodies such as the Southwest Cyber Resilience Centre and the Cyber Resilience Centre network as a whole, the National Cyber Security Centre, who are doing their best to address that through this, through networking and sort of publicly funded support for business. However, the Swindon and Wiltshire LEP recognise that there's an opportunity for a business-focused and a business-led cybersecurity centre, certainly to start off within the region, the Swindon and Wiltshire region initially, through to the wider national picture as the business grows. So The Swindon and Wiltshire LEP have a history, and a successful history at that, of developing capital projects, taking central funding and developing out a capital projects give you an example of reference there, Porton Science Park. So phase 1 of Porton Down Science Park, that is now developing into phase 2, which is on its way. Various different capital projects from road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, the development of Swindon itself, those sorts of capital ventures that the LEP has had history and successful history at developing, gave us the confidence and gave us the drive to develop out from that local industrial strategy and business case a physical capital project for the Business Cyber Centre. Why? Again, as I go through this presentation, there'll be lots of whys, there'll be whos, there'll be whats. The why is because cybersecurity is not going away. Yeah, cyber threats are not going away. This is not an option. Yeah, all of us have received some form of email at some time, either personally or in our professional capacity. That is an attempt, and a clear attempt, to access IP, access financial records, access our devices, be it a mobile phone, a tablet, a laptop, to try and gain financial records, intellectual property, whatever it may be. Those threat actors are continuing to develop those types of threats. They are becoming much more brazen in their attempts, but also much cleverer. So how do we continue to recognize those? How are businesses expected to operate their own business, which absorbs a huge amount of time, as well as keeping on top of finances, general day-to-day operations of the business, without having to consider, is this email that I've received a threat? Is it a legitimate email? If I open this attachment, is it going to bring my business down? So that's the reason why we're doing this. Yeah, if you look at those stats there, 39% of companies have suffered attacks or breaches in the last 12 months. That's a huge volume of business. 40%, over a third of all businesses receiving have suffered an attack or a breach in the last 12 months. And that comes from the survey from 2021 by the Cybersecurity Centre. So there's a good remit for this. How are we going to do this, and who are we going to do this with? So if we look at the local area, the Swindon and Wiltshire region, we have a very large military presence, so our MOD relationship is very strong. We also, as the LEP, as a wider organisation, have very strong links to multiple government departments. The Department for Business, Energy, Industrial Strategy, so BEIS, as it's often known, awarded us 9.7, and I say us, the Swindon and Wiltshire LEP, £9.7 million from a £1.3 billion fund, called the Getting Building Fund, and that was announced at the end of sort of late summer 2020, with the idea of generating jobs, generating infrastructure and housing in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Of that £9.7 million that the Swindon and Wiltshire LEP was awarded, £3.7 million of that is being allocated to the capital development of the Business Cyber Centre. So our relationship with the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy is incredibly strong, as well as our relationship with the Department for Culture, Media and Sport as the primary sort of proponents in government terms for cybersecurity. University of Bath have also expressed a strong interest in building a relationship, and our relationship that exists with them is incredibly strong, to support and be a partner of the Business Cyber Centre. Now, each of these areas have relationships to different programs that we will be developing out, and I'll go on to those more as we go through the presentation. But the kind of benefit that we have as an LEP is we aren't a private organisation where it would be difficult for government departments in the military, more so than universities, to partner with. We have a wide-reaching remit for economic development within the Swindon and Wiltshire region, as well as partnerships beyond our borders to develop out and ensure economic prosperity and development for business in our region. The building. So we have a 21,000 square foot building, which is located in Chippenham. This building is standalone. It is going to be a hive of activity, an ecosystem for companies that are operating in the cybersecurity world. What will we do from that building, and how will that work? It's going to be, as I say, located in Chippenham in Greenways Business Park, and the reason for that is that, as you can see from this map here, within the remits of the Western Gateway region there, as that map comes from, that comes from the Western Gateway Partnership, we are strategically located to have close relationships and close proximity to the Ministry of Defence departments through Corsham, through Bristol with Abbey Wood, and up through Cheltenham to GCHQ, and down to Salisbury as well. As well as the military connections there, we also have relationships with government organisations such as the National Cyber Security Centre up in Cheltenham and the cyber world up there, which is obviously a heavy focus in that region, and across to the South Wales, particularly Newport, with the National Cyber Academy that is based there. So the Western Gateway opportunity for cyber as a whole is huge, and we are looking forward to developing out our relationships with partners across those regions to ensure that we are enabling business to operate in a more safe and more stable manner. From the physical premises side of things, the attraction to Chippenham from a business operations perspective is the proximity to London, to Bristol. It's easy to get to from the motorway, the M4, and it's a short distance from the train station in Chippenham itself. So there is a strategic positioning within Chippenham from an access perspective for those that are visiting the business, as well as our partnership and collaboration region as well. I'm just going to check. Daniel, is there anything that's come through on the chat that I need to pick up at this point? I see that's a no, so I will move on. So what will we do? So the Business Cyber Centre has a wide-reaching remit. The business case and the prospects for the opportunity are huge, and we will look to do that through a number of different ways. As I say, we have a physical premises, and that will be home to companies and organisations that operate in the cybersecurity world. That will give them an opportunity to network, that will give them an opportunity to collaborate, as well as bring together skills and opportunity that they may not have elsewhere, to educate and provide innovation and skills. Within that space, the Business Cyber Centre will have sub projects. We will have a skills and talent platform, which will bring together the universities across the region, the education providers within the Swindon and Wiltshire region, as well as looking at military leavers, and current serving military, and our relationship with Tidworth in that respect is particularly important as the platform for current and serving military members, and as well as veterans, to access specific training. Now, we are talking to a number of organisations and looking forward to collaborating with those organisations and groups to develop platforms that they're not sort of required to take those students to take a long time. For example, if you think about a university degree course, that can take anywhere between 18 months to 3 years, typically for a further education course. Masters can take 12 months, potentially longer, depending on time commitments for those students. So that's a long period of time when it comes to employment. That's a long period of time when it comes to technology and the development of technology. If you think about a decade in IT, that is about 3 years. It's not a full 10 years. So the way that this sector and cybersecurity is developing, the period of time that currently is available for students to go through those programs is a long time. It will mean that actually at the end of it, are there directly related skills that they come out with? That means they can immediately walk into the most appropriate job role for them. Potentially not, and that's what we're looking at addressing with key partners such as the Institute of Technology, working out of the University of Bath, charities in the local area and businesses in the local area, as well as the MOD themselves. So that is a key strand for us. We will be looking to, in the future, run an innovation and an acceleration program that will be housed from the BC, the Business Cyber Centre, the BCC. I'm inherent in using the BCC as an abbreviation, so forgive me. But the innovation and acceleration program will be a platform and an innovative platform that to recognize businesses that are on a rapid growth trajectory, but also look at businesses that are offering and developing innovative new products, innovative new services. What do they need, and how do they need to grow? What access can we provide, and what networking opportunity can we provide to ensure that they have the best opportunity to bring their product to market, which is a benefit for them as an organisation, but also a benefit to business as a whole because of the service that they're looking to provide. So that rounded innovation and acceleration programme for them, as well as looking to collaborate. So the networking opportunity that will be available in the Business Cyber Centre, I will go on to in a moment, the Swindon and Wiltshire cyber cluster and the cluster network as a whole across the UK will be an opportunity for businesses in the cyber security area to come into the Business Cyber Centre network and to also network in the Business Cyber Centre physical premises itself. So that will be based on the ground floor in our cafe and networking area. What else will we do? So as a physical premises, we will have space. We will have a building where businesses can operate from. We will also have a sort of remote-based service and products catalogue. Now, that is something that we're developing out with key partners to develop products and services that are, again, going back to the beginning of the presentation, are accessible and affordable. If we look at the current market, going to access, for example, a florist on a high street looking to access advice, it's getting there. And as I referenced before, the National Cyber Security Centre and particularly the Cyber Resilience Centres are doing fantastic work in addressing simple and easy to access but highly valuable guides and information and technology and support to better their business. But we recognise there is a step further beyond that, where typically highly costed and highly technical products and services that are being offered aren't accessible to that level of business. So we're looking at working with key partners to develop a set of products and services that are focused on the SMEs, focused on companies and organisations that don't understand the heavy language surrounded by that the cybersecurity world is surrounded by. Being able to simplify it and deliver that to them in a simple and effective way is what we're looking to do. So as well as making it affordable, it's not everyday, and it's not everyday business that can go to a Big Four or a large organisation and spend thousands and thousands of pounds on a test event, for example, so a red team event or accessing a cyber range, but that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to enable companies that would normally consider this an opportunity to come in and do that, and that will more than likely be on a remote basis. We will also provide specialist support, and that's both for reactive and proactive. So those proactive products and services, as well as reactive support for organisations that have had a breach. Yeah, it happens. Someone clicks an email and away goes a piece of interactive software, and it gets into their system and they are locked out. What do? They come to us because we can talk to them and guide them through it in a really simple but effective way. In collaboration, going back to the building, we will have a cyber-focused membership. It will be a cyber-focused ecosystem that is housed at the physical premise of the Business Cyber Centre. There will be, across 3 floors, a number of different spaces within the building. That goes from a community space with as it says there, touchdown and fixed desk membership options available. So you pay monthly, you can arrive, access a highly specified networking area, community area with soft seating, desks for you to use on a day-by-day basis, which is focused on those individuals that don't need a hard desk for a fixed period of time, but those that are passing through, coming to work with organisations locally that need a place to land for a day or two, land for an hour or two, and then move on. We may not see them again for a week, a month, whatever it may be, but it provides you that base to come to within inside that cybersecurity ecosystem that we are developing. We will have a conference and training space. Now, that is a large space for up to 140 people. That is being able to split down into 3 individual rooms, so we can cater for any numbers. It says there 16 to 140 people across a number of different setups, and that may be for training days, that may be for team away days, that may be for large training events run by providers that are well known within the cybersecurity arena, and as well as sort of projects and similar sorts of events. On the smaller side, we will have meeting rooms for 4 to 16 people, again looking at the collaborative spaces throughout the building for that opportunity there. And as I mentioned earlier, we will have a cafe. Yes, there will be a cafe which will be available for those that are in the building, and a networking space. It doubles up in that respect, which will be home to the Swindon and Wiltshire Cyber Cluster. Now, the Cyber Cluster network is developing. That is a real target and goal, certainly from a DCMS point of view, to develop the Cyber Cluster network to, again, focus on bettering UK business by addressing skills, by addressing growth, and also understanding what regions do well. Yeah, so which regions operate and do well in certain areas, and how is there a relationship that can be spanned across Swindon and Wiltshire up to the northeast, over to North Wales, without needing to be next to each other. We can collaborate in that respect. So we look forward to working with the networking and network of cyber clusters across the whole of the UK. How can you get in touch with us? Here are contact details to reach out to us. Coming soon, as I mentioned at the beginning, is going to be a set of cohorts. We will be looking to test our products and services and our process for that respect. The building itself will be looking to be ready in spring 22. So we are currently in full build phase and fit out, which is why the images you saw there are sketch and artist impressions at this stage. But as time goes on and throughout the rest of 2021 and early 2022, there will be more information released on the launch of the physical premises itself. We are looking to engage with businesses, particularly the lower end of that SME scale in the Swindon and Wiltshire region, who would like to be a part of cohorts which will run the process for us products and services. So if that's of interest to you, do visit our website, do get in touch via the email, contact me personally. We can set up communication channels to start developing that out.